But that's where Brett comes in. Good old sweetheart himbo Brett. Brett is a huge people pleaser, causing him to be the lovable, charismatic goofball he is out of necessity. He's like a golden retriever with a killer jawline. They actually dig into this in one episode, which will get you feeling some type of way. He tries to act like a frat boy, but it's quickly revealed he's actually always under pressure, afraid of being judged, and just wants the best for everyone around him. Look, I thought I would hate Brett, and I was really hoping that he was like only in the pilot, which in hindsight was a pretty naive thought. But he really wins you over as quickly as he wins over the other characters in the show. Kind of funny. If Reagan's the yin, he's the yang, and it works really well. They complete each other, but you know, like platonically, which is another thing I appreciate, because you can't just ship every character together. Jeez. They bounce off each other well, and their dynamic develops over the first season in a realistic way. And it's nice to see this kind of duo that doesn't rely on the perceived dumb one being a punching bag to the genius. In both children and adult animation, it's kind of overplayed. As for the rest of the cast, okay, they need some work done. Despite being an ensemble cast, it doesn't really feel like one to me, because they function more like supporting characters. I feel like the biggest issue is that Reagan, Brett, and Rand almost always dominate the A and B plots of the show, but man, their other co-workers have a lot less substance in comparison.
I don't think any of you even know what my damn last name is.
I want to say Luigi?
Gigi the Ouija!
The biggest takeaway we really get from any of the co-workers is learning about how sad Andre is as a person without drugs. I wouldn't go as far as to say they're one-note characters, but seeing all the attention that Reagan and Brett get, I wish we got more from them. It feels like the writers figured out each of their gimmicks first, and then decided the personalities can come while writing the show. Even though Mike feels like he exists solely to be put on a stoner's ashtray.
Oh, Jesus, what are you feeding me? Licorice rabbit turds? You dickheads trying to poison me or something? Fucking shit!
I'm learning so many new alien words.
But I'm hoping they get a stronger focus and episodes centered around each of them in season 2. Still, characters like Grassy Knoll or Robotus are enough to give each episode some rewatchability. Reagan's dad is fun. He definitely feels informed by characters like Rick and Grunkle Stan, while still coming across as a fresh take on the archetype. And the show does a great job of keeping his intentions ambiguous. Does he love his daughter? Is he just using her as a pawn? Is it a mix of both? I can't really say just one way or the other, and that's kind of the ambiguity I want to see more of in adult animation. But my favorite character by far is JR. I just love his jovial attitude. He feels like, I don't know, a really cool principal. Also, Oprah's in it. That just popped in my head as I was recording. But yeah, Oprah's in it, and it's really funny. The concept is genius, but it feels like there's a little more they could have done with it. A lot of it is surface level conspiracies and internet references, which kind of makes sense given that they're probably trying to lure in a casual adult audience that would recognize all these things, especially because conspiracies are so huge on the internet specifically, and it's really funny to see all of these things kind of called out here. And I hope later seasons get more into obscure conspiracies because there's just so many. The show also excels at world building and laying the foundation for an overarching story, par the course with streaming, but we haven't really had a show for adults like this that follows the model of a lot of serialized kids cartoons from the 2010s, starting episodic, establishing the lore, teasing future plot points, and eventually bringing all the pieces together for a mind-blowing experience. Given the cliffhanger the first season ends on, safe to say we're in for a wild ride going forward. I really liked Inside Job, and I'm not alone. The show is like always on the trending or the top 10, which makes me really excited to see. Inside Job shows a lot of promise and has a big fan base, so I can see it going far, and I'm excited to see where the show goes.
What is this really?
What do you mean?
This isn't cocaine, it's the COVID vaccine, isn't it?
There is no better example of social commentary through animation than South Park. Maybe it's because full episodes can be churned out faster than an iPhone, giving the writers a leg up on relevant jokes, but the point still stands. If something insane is happening in the world, chances are South Park is going to talk about it, and it's most likely going to be really funny.
Have you ever heard of NFTs?
I haven't seen every episode of South Park. I unfortunately have a strict bedtime just like any hardworking citizen, but from what I understand, it hit a pretty big lull during the previous presidency. I mean, that was a pretty big L, banking an entire season's narrative on Hillary winning. Whew. That one was rough. But after playing with their format quite a few times with seasons that left fans divided, they finally got their saving grace, a terrifying and tragic global pandemic. That felt wrong to say. That's right. Lately, South Park has been seeing a ton of success with its string of specials commenting on the pandemic. I'm not saying COVID is funny, but watching South Park take the piss out of everyone's reaction to it definitely is. I can't even cap. And this year we got 3 specials: the vaccination special, South Park post-COVID, and post-COVID, the return of COVID. Leave it it to South Park, to be as blunt as possible. The vaccination special rolled out at the perfect time, at a time where vaccine eligibility just made no sense, and even if it doesn't feel too topical now, they did a great job of ensuring its relevance as it set up the next installment. Taking place after a huge time skip, we get to see the characters grown up in a scenario where the pandemic just ended 40 years in the future. They make so many jokes about the future centered around the state of things now, not just with the pandemic, but cryptocurrency, Amazon Alexa, and corporate mergers, while tying it all together in an insane narrative that ropes in time travel on some endgame shit. Honestly, I appreciate them handling pandemic commentary in a fresh way, especially in an era where everyone makes it clear that we have no interest in television or movies trying to tackle the COVID conversation. We're literally still living through it. We don't need some quirky ABC sitcom about Zoom calling, and we definitely don't need to hear Stephen Colbert anymore. Maybe that's just me. I like your ice cream. I think your face is annoying. And seriously, this might just be me, but every time I hear the pandemic or see a mask mentioned in a show or movie, it just feels forced, awkward, and clunky, turning whatever I'm watching into a period piece. It's not necessarily bad, and culture is going to react how it does, but I feel like South Park has the unique advantage of being bulletproof in that regard, because the show isn't meant to be timeless. They're more so cultural time capsules, representing the time whenever they were made, and the absurdity of it all makes it so that the commentary isn't necessarily the focus. It's whatever batshit insanity the kids are getting into. The earlier seasons still have remarkable rewatchability because, well, it still makes people laugh, despite all of the jokes and references kind of being dated. People just love South Park. With more specials and a new season on the way, I hope they can keep up this hot streak that they're on, especially without COVID commentary. But for now, at least we have this miniseries to look back on.
Melody Harper, the League of Super Lit Verified Sochmead Monks, grants you true influencer status as we brand you with our official The Rare checkmark.
Like anyone taking a single glance at this poster, I wanted to hate Fairfax. I really did. Maybe because it felt like it was trying too hard to capture the modern age. Let's be honest, hypebeast culture is already annoying as is. Does it need an animated series to endorse it? But when actually sitting down and watching the show, I can't hate it. I had a good time. And that's because these writers clearly know how to tackle satire, and they know how to take advantage of the medium of animation. They take these grounded situations and put a batshit insane spin on it that can only be done in the animated medium. They have a Chernobyl themed music festival. Like, come on, there's no way that's not kind of funny. I'll be honest, it may age like milk, but right now, it's a pretty funny exploration of cloud culture and the downsides of trying to climb the LA social ladder, which I personally think is really interesting to see, especially satirized. Are there moments I cringed? Yeah, but overall, it was a funny and chill show that gave me a good chuckle. And at the end of the day, what more can you ask for? Again, the best tool it has in its arsenal is that it's a cartoon, so it can get as goofy and out of the box as it wants. And I'd say most of the time it lands. Not to mention the color design is gorgeous, and the music ain't half bad. It's another one of those chill shows you can just throw on while you work and laugh every once in a while. I just appreciate the fact that it's adult animation, trying to do its own thing. It's not invincible, but Amazon Prime pulled through once again. To be honest, I kind of look at it more as a teen show, not because of its cast, but because I feel like the closer you are to that age range, the more you'll connect with everything that it tackles. And that's fine. We really need more shows like this that isn't restricted in language or subject matter, but still cater to a demographic of teenagers who still love animation and want more stories that relate directly to them. Personally, I hope Fairfax sticks around. Excuse me, while I completely gush about the greatest thing I've ever seen. Look, Arcane was probably the most exciting cartoon of 2021, and the biggest indicator of what's to come for animation moving forward. The show, based on the insanely deep and complicated lore of League of Legends, thankfully requires no knowledge of the game to watch. Seriously, I watched the full series and literally still don't know how League of Legends works or what exactly it is. Is it like Clash of Clans? Anyways, I'm just gonna hit the ground running. The animation is stunning. And this comes from someone who used to despise the CGI 2D blended style, but clearly Arcane nails it. It's less Dragon Prince and more Love, Death, and Robots, if that makes sense. Not that either of those are better or worse, I'm just saying. A dark and subversive story that you legitimately can't see coming even if you tried. I was on the edge of my seat until the very end. It's been so long since there's been a lore-driven, world-building show that I've been this invested in. I literally want to live in this world so bad actually, it's kind of scary. The show focuses on the characters, relationships, and politics of the city of Piltover and the underground society of Zuan, who for a long time governed themselves, but as the series goes on, the entire order of this place is shifting around. The show takes place over a long period of time, with tons of time skips and flashbacks, really making you feel like you understand this world and the overarching story, even though there's so much more you want to explore. And this isn't even touching on the characters, which is by far the most refreshing and interesting cast I've seen, I swear, since Avatar. That's like the only thing I can compare it to in just scope and depth. There's so many incredible characters, and they're all equally captivating. They're all going through different arcs and stories, they're all changing in interesting ways. It's really one of those I need to figure out these characters' names because I actually want to follow along type shows. Seriously, I was out here on the wiki pages, bro. I was in the trenches. From the tragic relationship of Jinx and Silco, to just how insanely interesting Silco is as a character and villain, to Jace's pursuit of science and magic, it's just also captivating. Except for the stupid little Professor Hamster shit. I hate this guy. God, every time he opens his mouth, I just want to punt him. God, his voice is just like nails on a chalkboard. He's like, oh, indubitably, oh, for science. I've never wanted to stomp someone so bad. I'm going on a tangent here. Okay, wait. The show just leaks craftsmanship, effort, research, and time, all put into building one of the coolest worlds audiences have been introduced to in a long time. I mean, it's all based on League of Legends, so I guess this has always existed, and there's a lot to draw from, but man, they execute it so perfectly. Also, Imagine Dragons is in it. Like, actually, like them, like Imagine Dragons is in it. It's stupid, but it's so funny. I love it. They're like performing. They look all arcane-y. Also, props to them for just killing it on the theme song. This was one of those no-skip theme songs for me. And I think what makes this show so important, especially if we're talking about 2021 going forward, is just how many people finally backed it. Mature adult animation with incredible world building, complex characters, and fascinating lore. All of this while hitting the trending tab on Netflix and dominating every social platform I use, getting legitimate recognition from a massive audience, and Imagine Dragons? I'ma pass out. I don't want to overhype the show, okay? It's not perfect, but this is what we need, and to see it succeed like it did is just so reassuring. I really feel like it's the start of the best decade for animation that I could possibly imagine. And that speaks to all of the shows on this list. Because whether it has occurred to you or not, it only has to me just recently, oh my god, this is a new decade. We are starting a new decade. Meaning all of this animation is what we're entering the new decade with. And honestly, I couldn't be happier. There's such a fun variation, so many different types of animation, and it's all made for mature audiences. And we're finally seeing a world where they're not falling on deaf ears, but instead getting legitimate recognition, building up huge fan bases, and showing studios that, yes, we want this. Because at the end of the day, we definitely do. All that being said, guys, I know there was a lot in this video, but I really want to know what you guys think. Were you as excited by these shows as we were? Did you hate any of them? Did you really love any of them? Do you actually like Stephen Colbert and hate his ice cream? Did you actually dislike this video? Because that would actually hurt my feelings, and I think I'd still be able to tell a little bit in my soul. Let us know in the comments down below or on social media. That being said, guys, I'm Nemo. This was a 2021 adult animation recap, and I'll see you next time. Peace.